Good day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and berries. Welcome to another day at Synergy Cafe. And we've got a guest on today. He's from the southern part of the United States. And I'm up here in Minnesota. He thought it was cold up here, but it's not because it's in its 50s. We're in our 50s. So I've got all my stuff together. I got my coffee. If you've got your beverage of choice, I've got my Christmas cookies. I'm all set. And let's go find our guest. He's in the green room right now, and he's going to be talking to us about, let me put this up here so you can see it. This right there. The secrets of franchise. So let's go get him. His name is Greg. Come on up, Greg. You there?
I am, Brad. Thank you very much for having me today, sir. I appreciate it.
Certainly. How do you say the last name? Is it Mohr?
Yes, sir.
Just like it's kind of spelt?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
More or less? Yes.
Yes.
Well, perfect. Thanks for coming on the show today. And I don't do these real long, but you can kind of condense so people can get the golden nuggets and move on with their life because, we got so much bandwidth and all. But we want to get to know who the heck you are. Your name is Greg, and are you married and got kids and all that stuff?
Married, no kids, 4 dogs, 2 cats, bunch of chickens, bunch of ducks, bunch of rabbits. That's about it.
That's one way to do it. You don't have to worry about putting them through college because they're already educated, right?
Yeah, they are. Very, very easy to take care of.
How long have you lived down there?
We've been in Licking, Missouri for about 3 years. We moved up here from Texas, about halfway between Houston and San Antonio off I-10. Lived there for about 20 years and worked on Motorola Semiconductor in Austin.
Okay, yeah, you're just north of us in Minnesota on I-35.
Yep. Here you go. Slightly north.
So let's get into it right away. What the heck? Why not? Franchising. This is interesting. We had a little conversation, and I know that most people think I'm going to get a franchise. I'm going to get a Subway thing, and I'm going to make a bunch of money. And then what happens is they put a bunch of money into it and end up being a very tired manager of teenagers. But there's other kinds of franchises, right? Well, sometimes they say like a football team is a franchise, right?
True. You can buy all sorts of different franchises. There's probably a franchise in every different industry that there is out there.
Well, share some. You mentioned there's some of them that aren't that expensive to get into, and it's kind of nice to have a little turnkey type business where the branding is already there for you and a little bit of the recognition and training, so you know what the heck to do and how to cross the T's and dot the I's, and they don't let you forget the lowercase J's because some people forget those.
Exactly right, Brad. There's many different franchises that you can get into. When we go driving down the road, we see the brick and mortar franchises. We see McDonald's, of course, all the time. We grew up with it. It's out there. You've got your Meinekes, you got your Makos, you got your Great Clips, you got your Supercuts, and Massage Envies. Those are brick and mortars. A little bit more of an investment on those, generally $250,000, $300,000 on it. The ones that people don't see on a regular basis are the service industry franchises, the home services, cleaning businesses, tutoring, senior care. Those franchises are around $150,000, give or take, on those. And it doesn't matter whether you get into the service industry or the brick and mortar industry, the amount of money you can make is essentially going to be the same. It's just a different type of business. Service industry, clients don't necessarily know you exist until they need you, which is why we don't necessarily see them until we need them. So we need a great franchise system to drive people to you when that need arises.
Wow. So how does a person decide what they want to get into? Are you an advocate of this, you got to love what you do and do what you love kind of thing? Or is it, do you choose it by affordability and the spike in the marketplace? Or how do you really pick a franchise?
That's the challenging part of what I do on that. So we have a nice little process that we take people to determine which franchises they want to look at. So Brad, you mentioned affordability. That's one thing that the franchisors will have certain criteria for. If you want to get into their franchise, you have to have a certain net worth on that and maybe a certain credit score, things like that. So we look at all those things. Obviously, if you're going to get into a brick and mortar, you're going to need a $300,000, $500,000 net worth or more because they don't want you to run out of money. So you need enough money to do that. So we'll look at that. The services industry, much less, 150,000 net worth or so is all you need because it's not much of an investment there. But you don't necessarily have to love or even know what type of business that you get into or what you're looking at. You'll be taught that by the franchisors. You're never wondering what to do next with the franchise because that's what you buy into when you buy into their franchise. You buy into their business model and they have all the instructions there. Some people, it just depends. Some people like to make money and some people like to make a difference in society. So we'll look at those businesses that do that. Some people just say, show me the ones that make the greatest amount of money, and let's take a look at those. So we'll go through those together. Then you're looking at some of the things that you mentioned as far as the type of people that you're going to be working with. Do you like a skilled labor force? Do you prefer a non-skilled labor force? There are many different questions that I go through with my folks on that in determining and in narrowing that search down to about 5 or 10 different opportunities that'd be a good fit for not only them, but we also take a look at the demographics of their area on there to make certain that that is a sustainable franchise and you can make a great deal of money once you get into it in their area.
Is the, like, I've seen these things like Hawaiian shaved ice. You see those lemonade things at festivals, the booths and stuff. Are those franchises?
Some of them are. Rita's Ice is one that's a huge franchise, and they franchise out. Quite a few of those are franchises. Some of them are not, but quite a few of those are. Those are nice event type franchises where if you don't necessarily want to, be at it 7 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever, and you just like going to those events and doing those one-offs like that, there are a few different franchises that you can do that with.
Yeah, because I was given some consideration to starting a coffee cart, because I have this vision of doing Synergy Cafe as a physical space, like an entrepreneur. This is sort of a sidebar, but an entrepreneurial private club. And I'm not a drinker, so morning coffee, get some work done. But instead of jumping right into that situation, I thought, let's start with a little coffee cart first. It's much more affordable, and then work our way up maybe to a coffee truck, and then into that. Is there a coffee cart type franchises that you know of?
There are a couple different coffee type franchises out there that do that sort of thing on there, but not a whole lot. So that'd be something good to get into because everybody loves their coffee, and if it's convenient, you have a cart, then you go where they are. We even have one. We got a town that's 3,000 people out here, and I've got, when I go by the store, there's a little coffee cart right out there by the store, and I'm thinking, if I was to check with the franchise would tell me your town's too small. But I go by there, and now I don't go by there all day long. But when I go by there, there's usually a few people out there with the coffee cart, so they know where to put it. People love their coffee; they love the convenience. So that'd be an outstanding franchise to create.
I thought about it to set it up at the farmers markets and the festivals, and of course the event industry. There's always corporations here in Minneapolis that are doing special events, and I was going to create it as a magic theme cart where there's actually magical entertainment happening around the cart, so it's different than the other places. So different ideas going on in my head, but that's something else I wanted to ask you about. It disappeared because I want to talk to you. This is your domain right here, right? This is how you get a hold of you?
That's correct.
Perfecto. I remember what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, what is it that you guys do? Do you teach people how to buy the franchise and kind of take down all the barriers and all the stupid decisions they might make?
Yeah, pretty much, Brad. Pretty much that's what it is. I've been doing it for 10 years, and I had so many people ask the same questions over and over again that I actually wrote a book on it, which is Real Freedom, Why Franchises Are Worth Considering and How They Can Be Used for Building Wealth. Actually made it to the Wall Street Journal best-selling list, which was quite amazing. But I take people through exactly what you and I will be going through together on that when we go through the franchising, answering all the questions that people have on a regular basis. And I have real-world examples in there of the people that I've worked with on there. So it is a step-by-step process on that. And that's what we take people through. Check out the book on there. Just, you send me your email. I'll send you a PDF copy. You send me your address. I'll send you a hard copy. franchisemaven.com. Yep.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I might have to do that there because I was thinking, okay, this would be cool to have a little coffee cart. You got that entrepreneurial spirit going. And then you start thinking, okay, food regulations and a 3-bin washing sink, and you got to be 30 feet away from an electrical source and all this other stuff, rules and regulations. And then what kind of coffee do you use? You got to grind the coffee. Now you need a coffee grinder. You need a coffee espresso machine, and then you got to mix in some. It ends up being, I didn't think about all those things. Well, those are the kind of things that you kind of might say, have you really looked into this franchise? Are you sure this is what you want to do before you take out the loan?
It's exactly correct. And all the things that you mentioned are things. So we don't necessarily teach them how to be a franchisee. We show them how to investigate, how to determine which franchises are a good fit Now, Brad, what you were mentioning are all the things that are involved once you get started as a franchisee is one of the reasons why people get into franchises, because there's many different things that you need to consider. The franchise has done that before. So they've got that whole list for
Right.
you, what coffee, where do you locate, and all that, all those things that you need to know. And that's why you're paying that franchise fee. That's why you're paying the ongoing royalties, so you don't have to come up with that stuff yourself. And for someone like you, Brad, who's thinking about getting into franchising, maybe, or so anybody else out there that has a business that they want to turn into a franchise, we have a group of people that will turn the business into a franchise, and will get all those policies and procedures manuals set up for you, and get you registered in the necessary states, and get the franchise disclosure documents done for you. So again, you're never wondering, exactly what do I need to do? They've got it all laid out. Franchise has got everything all laid out for you, so you never miss anything as you're getting your
Okay, so
business.
a scalability thing, if a person comes up with their own idea and decides to franchise it, you can kind of give them some guidelines on that. Like my little magical coffee cart. What if I decided I want to replicate this and do it down in St. Louis, and we'll bring one down to you guys? And
There you go. You can, and they'll show you how to do that. And if you're getting into a franchise, once you get that business built up, there are certain things that we're going to be looking for as far as uh, how appealing is it going to be to potential candidates. So what we're looking for there is, generally speaking, you've already got it built up. Hopefully you're making, it's good to have about 100,000 or more net income coming into that, because that will appeal to more people. And if you've already replicated it, even in the same city once or twice, so you got a couple locations, that's even better for bringing in potential candidates. We do have a lot of franchises just started with one location, and then they went into franchising, which is entirely doable. But it's good to have a good income coming in, just so you appeal to more people.
how long have you been in this franchise industry? Because it's a different industry. A lot of people don't quite get it.
Yep, just over 10 years, Brad.
Okay, so you got the chops, right?
Yeah, I had my own franchise for a while, and back in when I was a microelectronic circuit engineer for Mohr Semiconductor, I also had me and another engineer went in. We bought a dry cleaners, privately owned dry cleaners, storage units, had some drop-off locations for the dry cleaners, had some rental properties. So I did the private type business for a while I was working, a little something on the side, and then got into franchising after I left the corporate world itself. And big difference between going into a private business where you have to come up with all the ideas yourself. You have to kind of learn along the way. Big challenge, very interesting. Big challenge. You get to do whatever you want, but you're on your own, as compared to a franchise when you got the whole tribe of people, team of people helping you out.
It does. I think it's a sizable difference when you think a lot of the graphics and stuff are already designed for you, rather than searching around on the internet to find someone that can do it affordably, or maybe you can think you can do it yourself.
Very true. Very true, Matt. They've got it down. The franchise fee is, generally speaking, whether you get into a big brick and mortar like a McDonald's or something like that, or actually I don't know how much the franchise fee is for McDonald's, but if you get into a big brick and mortar, or you get into a service industry, franchise fee is generally around $50,000, give or take, on that. The total investment is what's going to change, but you get all that stuff with the franchise fee. That's what you're paying for, is getting all that information, so you never have to wonder, what do I do next? How do I, get the business license? What kind of insurance do I need? Where do I plug in at? What's the best coffee grinder to get? They've got all that for you.
Are there some things you should look out for? Because there's some maybe kind of, I wouldn't say illegal franchise companies, but maybe a little less reputable, kind of like they're just trying to get you in.
Yes. Well, a long time ago, in a land not so far away, when franchising first came out, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of, but in any kind of industry, eventually you're going to get some nefarious people who are not totally on the up and up. So they start telling people, you get into this franchise, this is how much money you're going to make. Okay. The Federal Trade Commission had to step in at that point and said, if you don't collect that information for how much money people make, you cannot tell them how much it is. So if you get on the phone with the franchise development person, they say, yeah, you're going to make $150,000 with this franchise. That's something to look out for. It's got to be in their franchise disclosure documents. It's got to be disclosed in there on that. Otherwise, they can't do it. I can't tell people that if you get into this franchise, this is how much money you're going to make. I know I got a good idea how much you're going to make because I've talked to so many different franchisees and talked to the people that run it. but nobody can really tell you how much you can make. It's got to be disclosed in the franchise's disclosure document. So look out for that. You mentioned something a little while ago, Brad, as far as, when we're looking to do franchising, what to get into, what's the market doing, what's taking off. So if you were looking into getting a franchise, just think about where you want to be 5 to 10 years from now on that. If you want to reduce your risk, and the things to look out for or to look for is how many franchisees does that franchise have? If you really want to reduce your risk, you want them to have reproduced it a few times. 100 times is good. If they've
We
got
only got one right now, but we're trying to expand.
yeah, so that's an emerging franchise. Good and bad points about those. If you really believe in the people that are doing it, once you meet them, if you really believe in the concept and you really believe in the people, I've had people go into emerging franchises and do very well with those. But the risk level is a little bit more there because only like 5% of the franchises in the U.S. make it to 100 franchisees or more. Another thing to look for is essential services. If you don't want to worry about what's hot and what's not going to be hot for a while, look at the essential services that everybody needs: electrical, plumbing, HVAC, senior care, tutoring, those sort of things that are always needed. Doesn't matter what the economy is doing. Restoration services, if it's broke, it's got to be fixed. It's got to be fixed now. And your clients are not necessarily going to be the ones that pay for it. So look at those type franchises if you want to reduce your risk, and then look at the ones that have 100 more franchisees. Really reduce your risk quite a bit. But there's great franchises out there, emerging brands as well.
Is there a way to know if a company is a franchise?
Yeah, it'll say they'll have their franchise disclosure documents on there. And if you're curious and don't want to do all the work yourself, just shoot me an email and I'll tell you whether it's a franchise or not.
Just like that, because you can tell because you've been there, done that, right?
Yeah, quite a few times.
I can detect a fraud. There's a lot of that out there, though. In the whole make money online world, I get it all the time. I'm on these platforms, Facebook and TikTok and stuff, and they're all trying to get you into, selling Forex, doing Forex trading or Bitcoin or something. And I ask them, what state are you located in? Are you registered with the Secretary of State so I can look you up? And they don't have an answer. And that makes me skeptical.
Yep. Good to be skeptical.
So I guess that's one way to find out if they're a legitimate business. Give us your legitimate business and you should be open and transparent about it, right?
Exactly. Should have all the paperwork to go with it, and you should be able to talk with other people that are running the business as well. One good thing about franchises, in that franchise disclosure document, they'll have a list of people that are currently running the franchise, a list of people who started it and are no longer running it. So you get a good success rate. Easy math to get a success rate on those. So we're looking at 85, 90% or better success rate. But you'll also have the list of franchisees that are currently running the business. So you will be expected to call upon as many of those as it takes for you to get a good feel for that business before you invest any money into it whatsoever.
There's some, I think I've seen it come here to Minneapolis, the franchise show. It's an expo that has, I did go to it. You know what? I was under impressed with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't even remember what it was called, but there wasn't that many franchises in it. So it looked to me more like it was a group of 7 or 10 franchises that wanted to get together and create a franchise expo. I would like to go to a big one that had a lot of choices, like at the McCormick Place in Chicago or something. Do you know of anything like that, a franchise show?
Yeah, there's franchise shows that go on across the United States all the time. The Great American Franchise Expo is one of them. My person that I used to work with over at the franchise consulting company, Nick Neonakis, he puts on the Great American Franchise Expo. He does very well. He usually gets quite a few franchises in there. It's a good way to meet people in person, meet the franchises in person. Franchise development people, for the most part. With the emerging franchises, you might meet the actual franchisor who ran it on that. But there's many different ones. Go to the IFA, the International Franchise Association. Go to their IFA.org and go look on there. You probably pick up some good franchise shows on there. They have a big one in New York. I know that at least once a year. But there should be some local to your area as well, because you got a nice area over there. So it attracts a lot of good people. Yeah,
there's a lot of corporate here. Back when I was doing Magic full time, that's what I tapped, was the General Mills and Target and Pillsbury and all the 3M Corporation, all those companies. And I created it. It's interesting. You said the Great American Franchise Show. I started a trade show called the Great Minnesota Event Show.
Oh, cool.
It was an event planning expo that I did in the 90s. and that's changed. And that's why it was interesting talking with you here, because I'm shifting gears out of this event stuff, and maybe I want to do something that's more sort of built for me rather than me trying to create it. I think you save a lot of time with something like that. Again, because the franchise probably knows all the stuff that you got to get this in place, that in place, this in place. It's already set for you. You can just order these things and it's done for you, rather than me thinking, oh my God, I wanted to get those things that go around the coffee cups. You don't burn your fingers. Where am I going to get those? And I got to find them and figure out how to probably just order them off the franchisor's page.
Yeah, franchisor will have all that information. And generally speaking, once you get into a franchise, your costs are going to come down because you've got all the different franchisees ordering whatever it is you need. So then they get discounts on that as well. So it's another good reason to get into franchising. But again, franchising isn't for everybody. And I go through that with people. I don't try and sell them on the fact that franchising is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because for some people, it's just not. So we go through the pros and cons. I educate them on that, and then we determine together whether or not that is a path that you should take.
Yeah, some people want to slice their own bread, right?
They do. They want to make their own and slice their own. So that's fine. That's fine. We'll find out along the way whether or not it's good for you.
And how readily available are you if someone's got some questions and stuff? Do you just do Zoom consultations, or do you have classes and things that you do, or you got a podcast or something?
Mostly just phone calls. People just pick up the phone and give me a call, or go to my website and schedule a time with me. And mostly over the phone. I'll do Zoom calls if people want to. Haven't done any classes for a while. I had a business expo type thing year before last, where I did a whole bunch of Zoom interviews with different franchisors and different people in the franchise business, and did a little podcast there. But have not done that recently. I may start doing classes again here pretty soon on that one. But for the most part, just pick up the phone and give me a call, or schedule a time with me, whatever's convenient for you. And you go on my website and do that on that. And I'll just answer questions for you. It's all about education from my standpoint.
Interesting. That's kind of the way that I've gone. Like, I got a bunch of gone back with the good old fashioned postcards,
Right on.
They'll deliver. The post office will deliver these, where Google, I don't know if they'll deliver that quick.
That's a good point. People still use that, and I think there's still a franchise out there that does direct mail mailers too. So you get a franchise for that.
So that's how to get a hold of you. Just use the old good old phone, right?
Easiest way is just to give me a call, and I'll call you right back if I don't answer.
And your number's probably on your website right there.
Yeah, just 361-772-6401. You'll find it on my website as well.
Perfecto. Well, cool. Is there anything else you want to share? And then I'll put you into the green room. You can partake in some more of those digital hors d'oeuvres we've got back there. If you want to stick around, we'll have a chit chat after.
Cool. One last thing, Brad, that everybody asks, almost everybody asks. I'm free. There's no charge for my services. If you decide to invest in one of the franchises I introduce you to, the franchisors will pay me a referral fee, but there's never any charge to you for my services. So you're good.
Well, that's nice. That's kind of like a concierge, kind of walking you through the shop before you have to make a commitment there.
Absolutely, Brad.
Okay, well, thank you, Greg. Much appreciation for spending some time here. And if you want to stick around, we'll have another chat. Other than that, I'm going to sign this one off, put it in the can, as they say. Okay. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate you having me.
Well, there you have it. That was our friend Greg, and he is the franchise maven right there. That's how you get a hold of it. Just spell the word out. Franchise maven, 2 words, kind of simple. And if you're interested in starting a franchise, or if you want to maybe partner up, give me a call. Maybe we'll partner up on some idea. It can be done. So that's all I got for now. So peace, love, and happiness. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining Synergy Cafe. Enjoy. Be well. Be kind. Be nice. Did I say be nice?